The number one thing that you're doing right now, okay, that's hurting yourself in social interactions is not making enough eye contact, okay? Eye contact, if you don't do enough of it, first of all, it makes you seem a little bit uninterested, okay? I don't know if you've ever had conversations with people that are older than you, a little bit more charismatic, or people of importance. But I've noticed it when I've talked to people of fucking significance. When I'm talking to them, even though they are much cooler than me or much better than me or whatever it is, they're making intense eye contact, okay? And they're not fucking shaking their head all the time or like, they're not, no. They're looking at me dead in the eye and listening to what I have to say, okay? That makes me feel like, okay, this person actually gives a shit, okay? Makes me respect them a lot more, okay? Imagine you're talking to someone of importance. It makes it feel like it's going through one ear, coming out the other ear, if they're not looking at you, or they're looking at you every now and then, okay? It's good to get this habit in now, before you become someone of importance, okay? Second of all, it makes you seem untrustworthy, especially if you're dealing in situations where maybe it's a little bit confrontational, maybe there's some sort of challenging opinion, or maybe there's some sort of knowledge that's being exchanged that seems to be a little bit private. If you're not making enough eye contact, it's going to make you seem a little bit untrustworthy, okay? So it's not just about being interested, it's about being sincere. So it's not just about being interested, okay? It's about being sincere. There's so many times when I've been trying to talk in social situations and I feel like I couldn't capture the audience. Whether it was 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, I couldn't do it. And I noticed that when I made eye contact, everything helped. And I'm going to give you an example. For example, you might know I'm a barber. That's how I first gained notoriety on the internet. Now, I noticed that when I was just cutting hair, difference between cutting hair in England and the difference to cutting hair in America is huge, okay? And I'll tell you why. The difference is in America, or at least where I've been cutting hair in California, the chair is turned away from the mirror, okay? So instead of looking into the mirror with you and the client looking into the mirror, the client's turned around and looking off into the shop, and I'm behind. Now I've noticed that when I've been cutting hair, the interaction seemed a lot less personal than several years before when I was cutting hair in England and I was cutting hair in Australia. And I noticed it's because in England and Australia when I'm cutting hair, the client's looking into the mirror and I'm looking into the mirror and I'm making eye contact with him in the mirror. And I just seem to have a better interaction with my clients. So when I noticed this, I started implementing it in my haircuts. I would actually physically, if I'm cutting hair and we're telling a story, I wouldn't do it all the time, but in key moments in the conversation, if there's, if it's extra stimulating or it's a funny point or something's going on in the conversation, I would actually stop the haircut and I'd walk around and I'd look at the cunt. I'd laugh, talk, tell the point, and I ask a question. Nah, you're not serious. Actually. And you can actually see this if you scroll on my Instagram and you scroll far enough into where most of my content is barbering videos, you'll notice I do that a lot, okay? Maybe I'll even reach over, right next to his ear, look at him, literally like this far distance apart. Maybe I'd actually lean my head right over, okay, near his ear, look at him like that. Nah, what she do then? You know what I mean? And that made me seem so much more interested. And then I started noticing that the conversations, when I started implementing this into the haircuts, conversations became so much more interesting. And they started becoming more personal with me. They started revealing personal stories. They started revealing certain things that maybe they wouldn't even tell their fucking therapist. And at that point, it is at that point that I started becoming more of a fucking therapist than a barber, right? The stories and the conversation I was having was intense. So, eye contact. Everyone likes to talk about eye contact, when you're talking to the opposite gender or you're trying to, romanticize the conversation. It's not just about that. Yeah, that's important. Everyone knows that. But too many people forget that when you're just talking to your mates, when you're talking to people, business, social interactions, eye contact keeps you interested, keeps you trustworthy. Here's another tip you can do. A lot of people, they talk about when you make an eye contact to try see your reflection in their eyes. I think that's just fucking narcissistic. Bro, like, okay, make eye contact, but don't try look at your reflection in their eye, because then you just look like a fucking psycho, because you're in there like, maybe you're checking your hair and shit. Like, just notice their eye color. Just look at, when you first make eye contact, when you shake the hand, you look at him. Make a mental note. This guy's eye color is blue. There you go. That's it. Set the stage. Number 2, you're being too passive in conversations and it's making you look underconfident. It's making you look like the other person deserves to overlook you. Okay? And what I mean by that, I don't mean you have to be confrontational. I don't mean you have to be aggressive in the conversation. But what I am saying is that it is so important to just, when you're making conversation, make meaningful contributions, okay? Don't be too passive in the conversation. Don't just sit there and listen to the story the whole time. I've talked about this in my school community. My biggest tip when coming into conversation is to actually be more interested in the other person than being interested in the conversation itself, okay? If you look at the conversation as a learning experience where you're just trying to learn as much as you can about the other person, your conversation will be 10 times better. But at the same instance, you don't want the other person to make it feel like it's a monologue, and you don't want the other person to make it feel like you have no value to give to the conversation. What I mean by this is, first of all, be assertive in your opinion, okay? There's one thing to learn about the other person and be like, okay, I'm interested, and maybe you delve off side projects, maybe you delve off side topics, maybe you ask questions, maybe you say, I found this interesting, I found that interesting. But especially if you're having an exchange of ideas, okay? Opinions are always involved. And when opinions are involved, you have to back your opinion, okay? Maybe you need to be a little bit more assertive in your opinion. Challenge their opinion. I can respect that, but to be honest, from my point of view, I think this, I think that, and this is why. And you put, what do you think about that? Do you see it from this perspective? Okay? When you start to engage in conversations like this and you be assertive in your opinion, you don't need to be confrontational, you don't need to be aggressive, okay? But don't be passive. Don't just listen and nod your head like an idiot. No one wants to talk to a bobblehead. People like to have stimulating conversation. Stimulating conversation, people like talking about themselves. People like hearing you talk about them. They also like having stimulating conversation. It's almost like a game, okay? They get an opinion, they challenge it, you challenge them. And a tip to improve this, okay? Share your opinions in low-stake environments. I've met people before that are extremely passive in conversation, and for them to go from this to that, what I'm telling you to do is a big jump. So just start at low-stake environments, okay? Next time you notice one of your friends tell you something and you've got a conflicting opinion, just share your opinion. That's it. Literally just learn to share your opinion. You don't have to share the whole experience. You don't have to share why. You don't have to share how. But if you have an opinion, back your fucking opinion. Makes you look more respectable. Number 3, you're being too self-critical. What I mean by that, you make a mistake and it takes you 3 days to get over the mistake. Okay, this isn't necessarily in conversation settings, but this can be in your day-to-day improvement, day-to-day program, day-to-day routine. Let's say you fall off the improvement routine, you fucking kill yourself, you murder yourself over it. You know, I have a school community, and the school community I talk about, you know, certain things that you can implement into your daily protocol to improve. And I had a group call with my community one time, I think it was about a month ago. And a brother in the community, he asked on the call, and he's an athlete, so I could understand this from an athlete's perspective. He said, what do you do to bounce back from a mistake? He goes like, I make a mistake, and then it feels like the whole day's ruined after that because of it. And I've experienced this too as well. This is you being too self-critical. Just don't take this shit too seriously, okay? It's like you're playing a football game. I don't know if you play football, I don't know, whatever you play. But if you make a mistake, you can't afford to just sit on that mistake. You have to just move on. Yes, the mistake happened, you just move on. That's why I encourage journaling, okay? Writing down your daily tasks and writing out what you did right in the day, what you did wrong in the day, ranking your day out of 10. Because you make a mistake, that's fine. You still have 3-4 other tasks to do. That's where it starts, however. It starts on the personal level, right? If you're too self-critical about yourself on the personal level, when you start to get into group situations, okay, you'll notice that subconsciously you will criticize yourself in front of others. Subconsciously you will bring yourself down in front of others. And then that's when you start to become a little bit too submissive. That's probably when you start to become too passive, okay? That's when you become scared to share your opinion. Because you have trouble from bouncing back from mistakes. If you can't bounce back from a mistake, that means you're too scared to make a mistake. Because you know if you make a mistake, the consequence is you're basically fucked. You can't have that in social interactions. You can't be scared of making a mistake, okay? That's what charisma is about. Charisma and confidence is you being sure of yourself, being confident in yourself, okay? It's not being snobby, it's not being up yourself. And the opposite of that is brown nosing. You don't want to be too passive. You don't want to be sucking up to someone. You want to be present. You want to be affirmative. But you want to trust yourself, okay? And you can't trust yourself if you keep criticizing yourself. So if you make a mistake in your day, it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Nobody gives a fuck. And if you make a mistake in conversation, you share an opinion and you're wrong, it's okay. Maybe you even look like an idiot. Maybe you look like a clown. But guess what? When you die, nobody's dying with you. So share your opinion and who cares if you make a mistake. Number 4, last tip. Stop being fucking late. Number one thing I hate on this planet. I'm a busy guy, okay? And if I set a time with a mate to do something, or if I set a time with someone to do something and they turn up 20 minutes late, that ruins my whole day. Because now I'm playing fucking payback, okay? Time is like a credit card. You get time, and some people spend your time, okay, on their credit card. And now I've got to fight to bring it back. You can't. I'm a barber as well, and the worst thing I hate, right? If I set 1 hour time blocks for every client, or if I set 45-minute time blocks for every client, and the client comes in 10 minutes late, okay, it's chill if he just wants to taper, but let's say he comes in and he wants fucking 6 inches off the top, he wants texture, he wants a burst fade, he wants a lineup, and then he wants beard with cutthroat rays on the neck. You telling me I have to do a 1 hour haircut in fucking 25 minutes? That's annoying. Okay, and now I've got to put on this face, I've got to smile, I've got to talk to you, I've got to make eye contact, I've got to act interested because I want to get paid and have a tip. Now I'm working double hard, okay? So if you're someone that's always late, be mindful of other people, okay? It's disrespectful and it causes a negative opinion about you. It shows that you're unorganized, it shows that you can't plan, it shows that you're not fucking mature, okay? Plan to be at least 5 minutes early to everything. This is a tip that my dad gave me, okay? If you're on time, you're late. That's it. If you're on time, you're late. If they say be there at 3 p.m. and you're there at 3 p.m., you're late. Because imagine you got stuck in traffic. Imagine something happened on the way. Imagine, I don't know, Google Maps fucked you over. Now you're late. So, plan to be early. Early is on time is late. That's it, okay? Be punctual. Being punctual also shows that you're highly, highly reliable, right? If someone's in trouble and they need something from you, they know they can rely on you, okay? Because if you're punctual, it shows that you have the ability to think, plan ahead, execute, okay, on demand, and to the schedule. That's a reliable person. No matter how good close friend I am with someone, I hate when they're off time by like 15 minutes and they just say, oh, it's Middle Eastern timing. Don't give a fuck about Middle Eastern timing, brother. Okay, we all run the same 24 hours. Just cause all you have to do today is fucking have a couple chats on Facebook Messenger and have a wank or some shit, I don't know, doesn't mean that you can fuck with my time. Like I said, time is like a credit card, okay? If you're gonna be borrowing someone's credit card, make sure you spend the time that you have, okay? Don't spend someone else's time because they gotta pay it back. Be punctual, be reliable, okay? Number one, make sure you're making eye contact. Number 2, Don't be too passive. Share your opinion. Number 3, don't be too critical of yourself. You make a mistake, it's okay. All right? It's okay. And number 4, be on time. That's the easiest thing you can do. Okay? If you want more tips like this, okay, if you want great content, if you want daily reminders, and if you want a group of community to hold you accountable, check down below. I've got the link to my school community. It's mad, it's amazing. Just check it out. I promise you, you won't regret it. Okay? Monthly calls, programs, all my workouts, social dynamics. I just launched a new classroom on there about hormone optimization. Check it out. Catch you later.